Today is Friday, May 16th, 2025. Here I sit, the biggest friggin' red day I've ever had. It's a Friday. I just got off my 2 days of work. I slept in real late today. I didn't really pay much attention to the markets until about the power hour. I didn't really see anything I liked. So I figured I was just going to kind of move on for the day. And then I kind of got in my own head about taking a day off from trading and how I need to at least make one move. So I watched the after hours a little while. I watched two different stocks make a kind of a breaking news move. I missed out on that, and I didn't really like the dip trades on them. The spreads were kind of weird. The volume was kind of off. The third stock that I saw make a decent move, I missed out on the frontline move, but I watched it, and there was several, 5 or 6 times where I could have got in on a dip trade and made 10 or 15 cents. It was hovering around the 70 to 80 cent mark. So those 5 or 10, and the dips I was watching was making 15 or 20 cents. Those are a huge swing for me. I watched that until it kind of fizzled off, and then I finally friggin' committed to it. And at that point, the volume was already dead. My fill barely even went through. I got filled like shit. I filled about 3 cents higher than I wanted. And really the only way I was going to make any money is if it just kind of popped up a cent or two, which it did 2 or 3 times. I was up 1 or 2 cents, which would have made up for my small red Thursday and part of whatever I lost on Monday. I would have been up 20 or 30 bucks, but I thought maybe it could keep grinding up slowly, make a few more cents. Of course, it friggin' didn't. It just completely flushed. I ended up, by the time I crash and panic sold, and then my order filled, I was down a friggin' dime. Just totally dumbass move on my part. I should have not traded at all. Or if I'm going to trade, I just gotta friggin' commit when I see something I like. I just over and over and over, I watch things happen and I don't commit to it, and then it bites me in the ass. Today, the biggest red day I've ever had, the worst trade I've ever had. Just a totally wasteful Friday. What can I say? This is just dumb as shit. I even woke up to a nice little note from the wife, giving me words of encouragement. Just be patient and stick to the rules. And when I do that, I do so well. And then once you kind of break the rules, of course the market's going to shit on you. And it did that to me today. I went outside of my normal boundaries, and I just totally shit the bed. Worst trading day I've had so far. I don't mind a bad move when I'm doing my best and sticking to my rules good, and I just make a bad entry or a bad exit. But this was just totally out of the nowhere, completely off the mark, waste of friggin' time. And on a Friday of all times, so now I'm going to be thinking about this all damn weekend just to piss me off. Just dumbass move. I know better. In a week, I'm going to look back at this and think, what the hell were you doing? Just no sense at all to do what I did today. Whatever. It's a 5% loss. I think it's 5.6%. It's like 150 bucks. All in the grand scheme of things, I had a really strong week. I flushed all of that away with today's move. It is what it is. Let this be another lesson, and let's move on with life. I still have a pretty strong trading account, and life will go on. Just disappointed in myself. There's no one to blame but me, and just a dumb way to end the week. Well, here it is. The biggest red move I've ever made. The biggest red day of my career so far. This was all just something so dumb, I can't believe I friggin' did it. This is Friday. The one move I made during the day. This is actually after hours. I had slept in real late. This was kind of a turnaround day for my 2 night shifts at work. I ended up paying attention during the power hour. Didn't really see anything I liked. I had already taken a screenshot of my P&L for the day with no trades. Just going to call it a no trade day and move on. Well, I couldn't help that, so I had to talk myself into making a friggin' trade. I had watched extended hours for a little while. There had been a couple stocks already moving. This was the third one to hit the scanners. And I missed the big move. Missed all of that. By the time I caught wind of this chart, it had already moved. I watched several of these dip and rip moves here. Didn't commit to any of them, and they were all 20, 30 cents of a swing. And man, it got me really excited. I was like, I can do this again. So I'd watch it again, then I'd hesitate and not buy it, and then a few seconds later it'd be back up. And then I'd watch it again, not buy it, and then it'd be back up. Well, by the time I decided to actually commit to one, the volume had already trickled all the way down to damn near nothing. The MACD had been closed for 10 minutes at this point. This was just a dumbass move by my part. We had a little flash of a dip here. I went to buy, and down here it was at like the 172 mark. By the time I filled, I was at 175, and then it just went sideways for a couple candles. I did have 2 or 3 opportunities to get out with a 1 or 2 cent loss or win here. 1 or 2 cents worth of profit, and I didn't take it. It wasn't good enough. Most of the time I held this trade, I was in the red. So once I got close to break even, and then for the love of God, those 2 or 3 times where I had a cent or 2 of profit, I should have taken it. But then I didn't, thinking that maybe it would get some momentum and go up. It obviously wasn't going to. The volume was dead. The MACD was dead. The only option for this stock was to start plummeting down. And by the time this huge red candle came through, that's when I committed to selling it. By the time my sell filled, I was down a dime on this. And I had put my entire account worth of money into this one trade. I went in with 1,500 shares. So for my small account, 1,500 shares at a dime, that was huge. I ended up losing $150. If I would have just taken the 1 or 2 cent of profit, if not even just close to the break-even mark, and only make $20, $30, or even only lose 20 or 30 bucks, that would have been a way better move. But instead, my dumbass held, thinking some sort of crazy miracle was going to happen where everything would just all of a sudden reverse, and the magic of the stock market would be good to me. Of course, it's not going to do that. Oh, this made me so damn mad. Every now and then I'll get in a trade and it's not a great move and I'll lose money. But this was just me being stubborn, not listening to any of my rules. In no way was this going to be a good trade. I mean, doing this little flash dip and rip after the volume had already cut off. Here, when the stock was first moving, there was still quite a bit of volume here, so I could have made it work there. And even then, that's not really my style. I'm not into that. But I could have sniped it for a few cents pretty predictably after watching it happen 3 or 4 times. But after watching it happen 3 or 4 more times and not committing, the chart had already kind of died off. I shouldn't have been in this trade. I should not have lost $150. I should have just accepted a no trade day and moved on. Or, if anything, committed early, which again, the commitment is the bane of my trading existence so far. If I would have committed to one of these earlier dips and rips, I probably could have made 5 or 10 cents pretty easily. But instead, here my dumbass sits down $150. Worst trade of my career. Biggest red day of my career. And just, I feel like an idiot because all I did was go against my own rules. And, sometimes that's just part of the learning, I guess, So, real awesome way to head into the weekend. I feel like an idiot. And, I just got to not do silly shit like this anymore. I'm too far into this to be doing this type of moves. This was never going to work. It was dumb for me to even think it was going to work. I knew better, and all it did was cause me some agony.